What's up, guys? Appreciate it, brother. So is everybody learning in here today?
Oh, yeah. Sir.
Hell yeah. So I got a question for you guys. How many times have you been on a roof, or has this ever happened to you? Have you ever been on a roof, or maybe on an estimate, the phone rang, and you let it go to voicemail? Raise your hand. Me too. I'm trying to get used to this clicker thing. It's the first time I've done this. Yeah, the technology part. So, on average, you're throwing away a $2,000 job. Even if you call that person back the next day, a couple hours later, do you wait on people when you call people? What do? You call the next person. What do you think they did? They called the next person. I've heard so many people say, yeah, well, I call them back and I still have that estimate. Maybe, but so does the other guy. Now you have a competitive estimate. So I'll tell you a little bit about my story. I started gutters when I was 18 years old. Did it for a company for about 5 years. Moved on to another company for a little bit. Maybe about 6, 7 years into it, I started a company on the West Coast. I was going through a divorce. It didn't really work out well. I did it for about 3 months. Heard about a hailstorm in Tennessee, and I hauled ass to Tennessee, and within 6 months, I have about 3 crews going. Had a lot of challenges to get there. But when I was done, I decided to come back, and I wanted to build a local business in my area and actually build something. Because when I was storm chasing, I was chasing the money, but then once all the jobs were done, you're pretty much dried up because you're going at it working with contractors. So when I started my company, I was wearing all the hats, just like most of us do when we start. And with that being said, it's all right to do that in the beginning because, it's a beginning. So you're going to wear all hats, but eventually you want to start relinquishing them and giving a hat to somebody in each component of the business. And nowadays, I won't even start a company unless I have an admin in place day one, period. It's got to be day one, or else I'm not really interested in starting that company. I have no interest in answering phones, doing $9 an hour tasks. It's just not that interesting to me. So my first real hire was an admin. They didn't have virtual assistants back then. That didn't really start happening until about COVID time. And when I hired that admin, it was very scary, as it's probably scary for a lot of you guys, because it's a fixed expense. So now you're taking on an expense, and your eyes are only really looking at that expense, and you're not realizing that it's really an investment in your business. And if you're missing 5 phone calls a week, that's 20 calls a month. Now, either you lost them or you made them more competitive. And, just 5, I tell people, if you're missing 5 phone calls a week, it's time to get an admin in place because it will pay for itself. And as soon as I got that in place, it was, I'm not the most organized person. So, initially when I started the business, it was hand scratched. Estimates, written by hand. I didn't have a good system in place. I was taking pictures of the estimates. If I got a call, somebody that, maybe I quoted a few weeks back, now I'm like flipping through all these pictures and I'm trying to find it, and I was just super disorganized. Once I got her in place, she was able to systemize everything for me, organize it. This is a little bit before the CRM started kicking in. So it was all paper, but it was all organized. Every customer had a file. My numbers doubled that year. 1 year from hiring her, I literally doubled my numbers. Not only did I double my numbers that year, but I doubled them the following year. Money likes organization. If you're not organized, you're going to cost yourself money. A little bit about John's story, my partner over here. That's the best, right? Look at that picture, man. Let's all admire that picture right there.
Did you do that?
Ange did it. So our VA created that. I think that's dope. I'm going to start using that on everything. But when me and John started Gutter Growth together. We were a couple months in. The company really wasn't making a whole lot of money yet. And John's like, Tim, you need a VA. I'm like, I do? What do I need a VA for? And I didn't really understand it yet. This wasn't from like an admin perspective because it wasn't a gutter company. I could wrap my brain around needing someone in the office, right? But I didn't really have my brain wrapped around how much an executive assistant could benefit me. And John, through Mr. Pipeline, he got into, during the COVID time, things kind of got shaken up. There's not much going into the office anymore, and he started leaning into using VAs. He hired his first VA, Abby, and Abby's like a rock star. And through that hire, he learned, I don't even know if he knew how to deal with VAs at the time, so he had that whole learning experience. But he ended up implementing a lot of VAs into his business, and through that, his business got more profitable, he got more effective, and these VAs, they're pretty high level. And so he really perfected how to use the VAs. And so I didn't know that yet. And we got Ange, our first hire. And you guys probably see Gutter Growth and Gutter Summit all over Facebook. You'll probably notice a couple years ago it started getting more professional from when I first launched it, and I was the one making all the posts. But this whole summit right here, we got 3 VAs behind the scenes plugging away. And none of this is possible without them. There's so many moving parts that are getting done, especially on the marketing end. And I started to understand it. I really started to understand it. And then before you know it, 2 months later, we're like, John, we need another VA. So we bring in another VA. And the Gutter Growth really started taking off. The summit, we definitely wouldn't have been able to do this without them. The summit started to take off. And through that, I'm like, man, we do need VAs. And so that's kind of how Secret Weapons was created. John's a visionary, so John had the vision. I didn't necessarily have the vision yet of the VAs, but he's like, Tim, I'm starting a company, Secret Weapons. I want to get you involved. Do you want to get involved? I'm like, absolutely. And so through that, we started Secret Weapons, and initially I was doing it from like an admin, or like a social media perspective, because most of us are all neglecting social media. Who in here posts every day? Raise your hand. 3. And so most of us are neglecting that. And so I did that, and it wasn't, we didn't get a whole lot of clients that first year. And so Secret Weapons was maybe 8 years old. I'm like, John, what these gutter guys really need is they really need an admin. They need someone in place that's going to answer the calls. They need someone in place that's going to schedule the estimates, going to schedule the jobs, going to handle all the back and forth with the customers. And that's what they really need. But they also need social media, and they also need graphic design, and they need all of that. And so we designed it to where we didn't take that component out of it, but we added to what you really needed in it. And so that's how Secret Weapons was formed. Let's give it up for John real quick. So what's the problem? The problem is, if you don't have someone in place, and it doesn't have to be a VA, but you need to learn to delegate. You need to have someone in place. They need to answer the phone for you. Missed calls means lost jobs, or more competitive, lower price jobs, because now you're competing heavy. Leads slip through the cracks. I know you guys don't call everyone back that called and you didn't answer. They slip through the crack. Even if you mean to, we get busy, we forget. We move on. Not only that, these are $9 an hour tasks, and there's so many of us that we're responsible for everything. We're trying to answer the calls, we're trying to do the estimates, we're trying to do the work, we're trying to do the invoicing. We get all our work done at night, or maybe we get our work done during the day. Maybe we're doing estimates after, maybe we got all this paperwork and stuff that we got to do at the end of the day because we're trying to do it all. So you're wasting a lot of time. And what you got to realize about this time that you're wasting, it's not a high value task. You're talking about a $9 an hour task that you're wasting your time on, that you could either be with your family, or you could be focusing on high value tasks like selling, like working on the marketing, building out SOPs, tracking your KPIs. Who in here knows all their KPIs and tracks it very well? Raise your hand. 2 of us. And do you know why it's not all of us? Because we don't have the time for it. This is something that you could pass that task on to a VA. The opportunity with using a VA or an admin, and that story I told you about my numbers doubling 2 years in a row, there was no virtual assistants back then. I was paying top dollar. And so not only can you get your calls answered, all the leads captured, all the follow-up, you're handling the scheduling, the dispatching, you're sending invoices, collection, managing reviews, reputation, track the KPIs. You could have all that done for you for very cheap. Instead of paying 3 to 4 times the amount like I was with an admin and it was still worth it, you're paying like a third of the price. You're paying around $9 an hour. And you get them for 40 hours a week. I'm just going to open up real quick for questions before I move on this. Do you guys have any questions about VAs, about admin? Tony, what's up?
So you're a VA, typically how are they getting the information? Are they just all connected into your CRM with everything? Do they see all your emails? Are they listening to your phone calls? How does that connection work with the VA?
Okay, so as far as like how are they getting the phone calls, we're using a system like Ring Central or CallRail, and we put that in place where you'll have a phone number that gets forwarded. And there's a ton of other different ways to do it. I don't personally know all of them. We have an operations manager that heads that up. And so there's different unique situations for every person. So we forward it over. We work through a channel called Slack as far as like communications, it's like texting. You have different channels where you could organize everything. You could have a sales channel, like if a lead comes in, it's in that channel. And you could get them on Zoom calls. So we do like Zoom meetings once a week with our VAs. And Grant heads up a meeting with them every single week, and you treat them like a real employee. And you could call them. They're answering the phone for you. So you can pick up and call them just like a normal employee. You guys are used to people working virtual because you're sending out trucks. If you're not on the truck yourself, you're sending out trucks to go do the work. They're not in the office with you all day. You don't need someone in the office with you all day to work with them. Did that answer it?
I just saw that they were scheduling, so if I have the VA call the customer and then they have a question, they go, oh, by the way, here's a gate code, the dog's gonna be there between 3 and 6, we'll be out back out. Like, how does that get communication back, all the way back to the installers if there's a question? They literally have to.
They're gonna communicate with that installer. You're gonna integrate them into your business. If you do weekly meetings, I would involve them on it. Like pop on a screen, get them on Zoom, involve them in the weekly meetings. They are like a real employee. They're not working for anyone else but you. So you have them 40 hours a week, and they're gonna work within your CRM. They're trustworthy. We give them passwords to the emails, and we just integrate them into everything. So they're gonna be in your CRM, they're gonna be in your emails. Filipinos, and they speak good English. The ones that we hire have done phone support before, because that's really important, right? You don't want someone that has really, really bad English. And another thing, that you don't have to accept a VA that we give you. There's an onboarding process, and with that, Aldrin's our operations manager, and how he treats that is he would have a conversation with you and him on a Zoom call, just be you and him. He'll end up bringing on the VA onto the screen, and you'll do a little short mini interview. And if you don't like how that particular VA sounds, or if you don't feel comfortable that you'll work with them, not in front of her, but he's gonna take her off the screen, ask you what you thought. If it was a red light and you just didn't feel comfortable, then he's gonna put someone else on the screen. And you don't have to accept anyone until you're 100% happy with how they sound and that you feel that you're gonna work good with them.
I got a 2-story house
They speak good English, but there's times that I'll use some slang, and then we just kind of make a joke out of it. Like, you know, back in the day, 10-4, you'd say 10-4, you know? So I would say that, and she's like, what's this? What's 10-4? And I would have to explain it to her.
It wasn't about the language thing,
Yeah.
how well they speak. It's more speaking construction. Are they, because some people give you specifics about
Yeah, like,
the terminology.
You're not going to have an admin, a VA, or a local admin understand everything about construction unless they were a construction worker themselves.
I'm an admin and I understand it, and I've never worked in construction, so that's,
Well, you have to just train them.
Yeah. What I'm saying is they might not know everything about gutters. So you may have to train them and teach them about different gutter parts or different parts of the business. It's like any other employee. They need training. If you have an employee and you don't have some type of onboarding process where you're training them, you're not going to have as good of an employee.
Where they're not calling into a rotary or.
No, this is one person. They work for absolutely no one else but you. And so all employees get better over time. And they will eventually understand because they're getting the same questions over and over and over again. But I don't think that any normal admin, I mean, maybe you understand construction well, but I don't think any normal admin necessarily does, and you're going to have to train them just like anyone else. So I do have I'm going to talk about it at the end. I do have a special deal that's just for the summit, and we'll talk about that at the very end. But normally what I do is I have an onboarding fee, $497. We're going to waive that today, but it takes about 2 weeks to get someone onboarded. And so we don't really start charging until the 30th day. Like that's when the charges start kicking in. So you have like a 2 full weeks where you're not really paying anything to get them up to speed and train them and, you know, get them acclimated. But they come skilled, so it's not like they have no skills. They might not know everything about the gutter business. You have to teach them that. But these are not unskilled people. They're doing, you know, they're already experienced with social media, graphic design, all these things. They already know how to answer the phones. You just got to teach them your systems, but they're going to come in with skills already, and they're going to start straightening you out on a lot of things.
So as part of that I was still with, been out grinding, right? So I know everything. I'm doing it all right now, and I want to get rid of those 8 long-hour tasks. We have it all written in our head, right? We have it put into an SOP.
In the paper. And so that's what I was going to get at. So you want to identify the task, you know, and document it, put it on paper. You have a system already. Like we all have systems. The problem is we keep them in our heads. And if you don't, you know, you don't want someone asking you questions all day, trying to get what's in your head that you're not explaining to them. So if you could identify what that is, and in this case, we actually are going to give you SOPs. Grant built out SOPs for gutter companies for the admin. So we're kind of helping you with that. You'll have that to utilize. But everyone runs their business differently. And you'd have to take those SOPs, look at it, and there might be some things that you need to change. But you got to identify how you run your business, how you want to run your business, document it, put it on paper, and that's going to be their guide. And, you know, a month in, they're going to have to maybe rely on it less, and it's just something they look at now and then.
Payroll or any like legal logistics or anything in that kind.
No, because this is contracted out, so you're also going to get off the hook from having to pay, you know, your taxes and your work comp and all that stuff like you would on a normal employee here. It's just, you know, it's just a straight fee because you're contracting it out, so it's contracted labor.
Signed up for my meeting on Mondays. So
Yep.
definitely looking forward to the experience.
I mean, look at it this way. To have a good admin in the United States that's local and that you have coming to your shop, and you're also going to have to provide a shop for them. There's a lot of expenses. You're going to have to match work comp, pay all the taxes. You know, you're looking at spending on the low end, and that usually means less skill, maybe, you know, $3,000 a month. But normally, you're probably going to be spending $5,000 to $6,000 to $7,000 a month to have a good admin in place. What do you think you're going to pay for a social media company to manage all your socials, post daily, do graphic design? You're going to pay about between $800 on the very low end and maybe $1,500 on the higher end just to have a social media company run your business. And so the savings is huge. You know, you're saving, you know, you're getting the social media aspect of it, so you're saving up to $1,500 right there. You're only paying $1,497 per month, so you're saving another $3,500 right there. You're saving like five grand a month. I don't know what that is a year. It's a lot of money. So, you know, I'm not a mathematician. What is it?
60 grand.
60 grand? Yeah, so you're saving 60 grand. And the thing is I'm surprised a lot of times because I'll watch Angie's reels and she's taking her kids doing activities. They're going to, they're going to the mall or shopping. They're just always doing things. And so they actually live a good life off of what we're providing for them. So it's not like they're over there living in poverty. The conversion rate really works out where it's a win-win for both of us. So they're living good. They're probably living better than your admin would here locally.
It's a privilege of a lifetime. Put it that way.
Right. I don't know if it's true, but I heard that engineers over there only make $8 an hour. Engineers. And so we're paying them almost as much as engineers are. I have a special deal I want to talk about with you guys that's here for the summit. I wanted to come up with an offer that was so good that it was impossible to refuse. Who in here thinks that they may need a VA or have an interest in it potentially? Raise your hand. Okay. So all your hands that raised, you really have no reason not to try this because I'm going to take all the risk away. I'm also going to give you massive value in what we're going to give you for free. I'm going to waive that onboarding fee of $497. So we're going to waive the onboarding fee. You won't have that. You're going to get your first 30 days free. And that's after you get them in place. So you got them for 30 days free. Of course, you get them 40 hours a week. I went over everything that they're going to do. And not only are we going to give you the first 30 days free, we're going to give you 2 free general admission tickets to the Gutter Summit next year. Only catch is you got to stay past 30 days. But how I'm going to take the risk away for you is if you're not happy within those first 30 days, you could back out without commitment. It is a 6-month commitment. But if you're not happy the first 30 days, you can back out no problem. But if you don't, you got 2 free Gutter Summit tickets next year.
Is that in Atlanta still?
What's that?
Is that still in Atlanta?
Nashville.
We're debating. Yeah, we're debating. So, I mean, there's a good chance it will be, but there's also a good chance it won't be. Johnny put a post on today.
It might be in the Philippines.
It might, yeah.
Let's go.
And we might bring our we might bring our VAs here next year. Yeah.
Is there a Spectre over in Nashville?
No, I don't know. I know that they have 6 plants like that. I'm not sure where they're all located. I should know, but I don't. Yeah. So who here thinks that's a good idea? You want to give it a shot because you got no risk. I'm not asking for money today. If you're not happy within 30 days, you back out, no risk. You also will get 2 free Gutter Summit tickets next year. Who enjoyed coming here this year? Who here got something out of it? This will change your life, but the message here today is not for me to just sell you a VA. I would love to have everyone sign up for a VA. The message is you need to learn to delegate. You need to have someone else answering the phone. If you don't do these things, you're going to lose a lot more money than the $14.97 or the $9 an hour that you're paying for a virtual assistant. And it's still worth it if you pay top dollar for someone in-house. I mean, my numbers doubled 2 years in a row, and this is something new that should be exploited and taken advantage of because it's just great.
What skill sets does the average person have?
The average VA has social media skill sets, so they're going to know how to schedule the content calendar. They're going to know how to do graphic design. They're going to know how to do video editing. So that's a given. They're going to know how to manage CRMs. Now, there's different CRMs, so they might not know your exact CRM, but they're very, you could get them on if you got Jobber, they could set up an appointment and do any training that they need. They're very self-sufficient. They teach themselves, so they learn. If there's something that they need to know, they're pretty good about being proactive and learning it. The last thing you want to do is hire someone and then neglect them. Just so here you go and you're on your own. And so we kind of help with that by giving you the SOPs. And Grant built it out. He's really good at that stuff. So they'll have a base, but I would spend a whole week with them training them. You know, you got to invest in them. You're investing in someone that's your front end in your business. They're going to be the first line of defense when someone calls, or they're the face. And so it's worth the investment. You got to spend time with them. I say that the biggest mistakes people make is just like, hiring one and then not doing anything. You can't fail your VA or anyone that you train. If you don't have a good onboarding process, if you're not spending time with them, like Rob Word, I don't know if he's already spoke already. He did, right? He has a 2-week training process that he puts installers through before he even lets them touch a truck. You know, they're in-house, they're inside doing that. It's like classroom stuff at first. You know, and so the more that you spend time training them, the more you're going to get out of them. It's a real employee. It's just not a, set it and forget it. This isn't technology, it's a person. That's all I got, guys. Hey, if you got any questions, I'm on Facebook. You guys probably have me on there. Shoot me a DM. Don't be afraid. It don't have to be about VAs. If you got something that you just need help with or want some advice, I'm not going to try to push you into the gutter growth program. Like, I will help you out and give you advice for free. Reach out to me. I'm here to help. And I just thank everybody for coming today.